Socialists and gentlemen. So the Iowa gubernatorial race is heating up. Fred Hubbell, Kim Reynolds, and Jake Porter. Well, Fred Hubbell's been running these commercials, these annoying commercials. And I will say this about political ads. I really hope nobody ever makes a decision to vote off of political ads because 99% of them are stupid, useless, insulting to your intelligence. Well, unless there's a lot of people that I've run into on YouTube who I don't think, well, like Jacqueline Glenn or Old Fart Rants, for example. If you have the IQ of a pineapple, well, there you go. So he's been running these commercials, Fred Hubbell, and he's using this poor disabled guy as a political human shield for socialism, which that's a new one. It reminds me of when Democrats stump for gun control and they have children on the stage. If you're not for gun control, then you want children to die. And if I'm not for Medicaid for all, then I hate disabled people. So I don't think they know the facts. In fact, I could smell this lie, emanating from this commercial from the beginning, where the guy is coached to say, I don't think it's getting any better. They're talking about Medicaid's being cut. So what I did is, and I've done this before, I did this with my video on California and the great Obamacare Medicaid expansion. Obamacare should have been called the Medicaid Expansion Act. That's basically all it did. Just enlarge Medicare, or Medicaid, which has had huge price increase, or huge spending increases since 1970, and even from fiscal year 2002 through 2013. I haven't looked at it since then. I haven't looked at it diligently. But Medicaid spending increases at the federal level have been astronomical. Find me another program that has grown that much since fiscal year 2002. Good luck. So what they're doing is they're trying to use this disabled guy who's being coached. And if you disagree with it, then you hate disabled people, which is probably what a lot of them will say. So if you're against this, you don't like disabled people, and he's using this guy as a human shield for socialism. And I'll have all the links below the video, of course. As always, I actually have actual facts, not sound bites and half-truths. What you'll find out if you start looking through this Iowa Medicaid enrollment, you'll find out that most of them are children. So it's like the single-parent family. So if someone has 2 or 3 kids from 2 or 3 different guys, if they got thrown in jail for marijuana possession, that's the state causing that. But if they become an alcoholic, or they never get caught using drugs, and they ruin their life with drugs, or they don't finish school or whatever, have a bunch of kids that can't take care of, and they're incredibly irresponsible. How is that my fault? That's different than someone becoming disabled, say, walking across the street and getting hit by a automobile who didn't yield for the pedestrian in the crosswalk. What if somebody gets intoxicated and drives off a bridge and injures themselves permanently? Am I to be held responsible for that? What if somebody rides a motorcycle and doesn't wear a brain bucket and they go down through no fault of anyone else, maybe going too fast in the rain, and they become severely injured? My fault? Am I selfish if I say, well, my wallet shouldn't be de facto rated for that? So let's look at some of the facts. And this is one thing a lot of communists, socialists / progressives will do. They'll see something that grows at a stratospheric pace for, say, 10 years, and then 1 year there's a cut, a small blip, and then they say, oh, look, there's a cut. No. If you look at it in a grand, long time scale, there is no cut. So here's Iowa's Medicaid spending, as I got off of NASBO. This is nominal dollars. Iowa Medicaid spending in 2009 was $3.132 billion. Iowa Medicaid spending in 2013 was $3.876 billion. Iowa Medicaid spending in 2014 was $4.251 billion. Iowa Medicaid spending in 2015 was $4.978 billion. Iowa Medicaid spending in 2016, $5.262 billion. Going up pretty quick. Iowa Medicaid, keep in mind, the great Obamacare Medicaid expansion began happening in 2014. And states weren't required, due to the Supreme Court ruling, they weren't required to increase their Medicaid spending. But a lot of states, like California was one of them that went hog wild. They figured, ooh, the federal government gives us matching funds. Or they'll pay them all of it for a couple years, and then it's like 80%. We'll just expand our rolls like crazy, and then we can get taxpayers in Idaho to pay for it. Yay! Great idea. Iowa Medicaid spending in 2016, again, was $5.262 billion. Iowa Medicaid spending in 2017, $5.019 billion. That's estimated. 29.5% increase from fiscal year 2013 to fiscal year 2017. And that commercial by Fred Hubbell, that annoying, stupid commercial, they call that a cut. So I've got all the Iowa population estimates as well, so we can figure out what percentage. Now, there are dual eligibles. There are people eligible for Medicaid and Medicare. There are people that aren't 65 that are on Medicare. There are people over 65 that are on Medicaid. So what I did is I calculated this Medicaid enrollment as a percentage of the under 65 population. So keep in mind, Iowa was well below the U.S. average. Iowa Medicaid enrollment in 2009, 229,423. Medicaid enrollment was equal to 8.95% of the under 65 population. Now keep in mind, it's a cut. They're cutting it. They're cutting Medicaid. Iowa Medicaid enrollment 2013, 493,515. 58% of those on Medicaid are children, a single-parent family, most of the time. Medicaid enrollment was equal to 18.92% of the under 65 population. So you can see it is growing at a breakneck pace. Iowa is much lower than the national average, but boy, they're catching up quick. And remember that we had a very conservative governor named Terry Branstad, who's very conservative. He's a conservative Republican who expands government. Iowa Medicaid enrollment 2014, 665,551. 52% on Medicaid are children. Again, the single parent family thing most of the time. Iowa Medicaid enrollment June 2015, 597,300, so it dropped. Iowa Medicaid enrollment December data 2016, now it's climbing back up again, 622,071. Medicare enrollment is equal to 23.2% of the under 65 population, under 65 years of age. Iowa Medicaid enrollment, December data 2017, 668,000. So it's gotten above the 2014 level, 668,047. That's December 2017. Medicaid enrollment is equal to 25.49% of the under 65 population. So in the U.S., that was 26.2% that year. Iowa's up to 25.49. Iowa's almost caught up with the average, and they did it really quick. Iowa Medicaid enrollment 2018, 678,106. So what's being cut? What is being cut? Well, there's that 1 year it went down, the estimated year, but over the 2013 to 2017 fiscal year period, that's still a massive increase, and enrollment continues to skyrocket. So again, what they're trying to do, they're trying to scare you. Well, they're not telling the truth, and they're trying to scare you into socialism. Socialism, Medicaid for all. The state level here in Iowa. Fred Hubbell, that's his wonderful idea that is really original. I think we need to harken back. Remember when Bernie Sanders voted against enrolling Congress in Medicaid? Well, if Medicaid's so great, why would Bernie Sanders not vote for it? That's kind of odd. I'll have the link for that down below. Another thing I'll mention, and I did this in one of my responses to an idiot named Kata video years ago. due to Medicaid's price controls, doctors prefer to get paid for what they do. So what's happening are the price controls are causing a lot of doctors to say, we don't accept Medicaid patients anymore. So what are they going to do? I think Fred Hubbell's end game is to just outlaw private insurance. That'll go over well with doctors, at least the ones that actually stay in Iowa. So again, using a disabled person as a political human shield for socialism is deplorable. Shame on you, Fred Hubbell. The best thing Fred Hubbell can do for Iowa is to vote for Jake Porter, Libertarian candidate for governor. I'll link to his website as well. So I think that about does it in short order. Fred won't let you know the data. The Des Moines Register is not going to dig into the data and tell you because they're nothing but socialist rag, bird cage liner. So there's the facts. There's no real cuts going on Medicaid. Iowa Medicaid spending is continuing at a breakneck pace. Before all this Obamacare garbage came down the pike, Iowa was well below the national average as far as a percentage of the population on Medicaid and Medicaid spending. But Iowa was one of the states that expanded Medicaid, and they are on a tear like a California wildfire. So hopefully that information can arm you when you're talking to one of these socialists who use bumper sticker sound bites, because that's probably all their knowledge. So I would avoid Fred Hubbell. I would avoid Kim Reynolds. We've got two people fighting over which version of big government is better. Thomas E. Woods said it some time ago that conservatism is progressivism going the speed limit. I concur. Jake Porter is far from perfect, but he's certainly a lot better than the other two. So you can vote for Fred Hubbell or Kim Reynolds and which of their version of big government is better, or you can vote for Jake Porter. Have a nice day, Iowa voters. And don't thank me now for the info.